Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Our Take. We're your hosts. I'm Ocean.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Connor.
And ladies and gentlemen, we got something a little bit outside of the box for you guys today. We are going to do an episode on a show that just came out, I don't know, like a couple weeks. No, it's been a couple weeks now, right? When did the first episode come out?
The first episode came out, like 4 weeks ago, probably.
September 13th.
Yeah.
September 13th, it was the first episode, and then the last episode came out like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a 3-episode season, and the show that we're going to be talking about is called Pariah Nexus. This comes from the Warhammer 40k universe.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it sounds awkward because I don't really know what I'm talking about, if I'm being honest. I'm just kind of regurgitating words that were given to me to say. Yeah, so like I said, this is kind of a little bit out of the box. Something slightly off of what our normal like scope is. But I'm really excited to talk about this because I feel like Warhammer in general has been kind of brought to the forefront of pop culture because of Henry Cavill, mostly. I know Warhammer is super popular and there's a really big following, but as far as like the pop culture, we'll call it, it's starting to make its way into that. And so I think it's going to be a fun episode to talk about. So we'll do this in traditional fashion as always. We'll start with spoiler free real fast. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot to say because there's only 3 episodes in this season. And then we'll dive into scores as well as spoilers. Just so you guys know, the cast list, I'm having a hard time finding one. Were you able to find one, Taylor?
Yeah. I couldn't find one.
Yeah, the only person that I know is in this off of the cast list is a guy named James Foon, and that's literally the only person that's like on IMDb. That's the only person that's listed in the cast. Yeah. So, not really sure who else is in there. Maybe if you guys know who the voice actors are, you guys can let us know. That'd be awesome. But as far as spoiler-free content goes, since I'm probably the minority here as far as like knowledge of this world, it was pretty dope. I mean, I enjoyed it. Yeah. I enjoyed pretty much everything that's like space fighting aliens and stuff like that. So there's definitely some stuff that this gives me major like vibes of. But I enjoyed it, and I think this was like a good it's like a gateway drug. You know, like this is a good show to like start my Warhammer introduction on.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely interested in watching more Warhammer stuff and potentially playing the games or some of the games and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know. What about you guys? The people that are more knowledgeable on Warhammer, because I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, Warhammer, I mean, it's a well-established like franchise that's been around for ages now. It's kind of like I guess kind of like D&D in a sense, where it's been around for so long and there's like so many different iterations of it. Warhammer specifically kind of has a wider scope only because it has 2 separate like I don't know, like sub genres within it. Yeah. Whereas D&D is just fantasy. You have regular Warhammer and then 40k. Obviously, this covers 40k. I mean, I've always loved Warhammer. I've never dived super deep into a lot of the stuff because Warhammer is so convoluted. It's like...
So real quick, explain to me, and for those of us that may not be as knowledgeable, what the difference between Warhammer and Warhammer 40k is, because I have a basic understanding, but maybe you can delve a little bit more into it.
Honestly, the biggest difference is really just time periods, kind of, but they share a lot of similarities with certain like sometimes factions or characters and stuff, or like base lore concepts with certain things. But like regular Warhammer is basically your typical fantasy based stuff with like elves, orcs, and all that kind of stuff. There's still orcs in 40k, but 40k is like space, sci-fi, kind of space marines, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So it's like
it's a galaxy spanning
versus like
versus
like
Warhammer.
worldly.
it's like
Warhammer
Lord,
Fantasy is on the single planet.
So it's like Lord of the Rings versus
Right.
Star Trek.
Kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
kind of. If Star Trek was
Cool.
super
Not
dark
that Star Trek's not cool, but this Warhammer is very
super dark and trillions of
it's
people
just
died
different.
every day.
It's very different.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they're not in the same universe. That's also
Yeah, like they don't.
Warhammer Fantasy is a completely different. They're not. It's not like that's back in time from Warhammer
Yeah.
40k.
Okay.
They just share like design things, but they're completely separate.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't
Alright.
become Warhammer 40k in the future.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
confusing.
they're two entirely different just things.
Yeah. So if you like fantasy, you stick with
Regular
the Warhammer,
Warhammer.
the regular just Warhammer, and if you like the
Space-
sci-fi, then you stick with Warhammer
Yeah.
40k.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you can
Alright.
dabble in both if you like both of them.
And you were saying that you more prefer Warhammer 40k versus Warhammer.
I mean, I like both, but it's just easier to gravitate towards 40k because it's got space marines,
Right.
guns, the entire like idea of like the Imperium and everything in 40k is
God
just
Emperor.
like over the top brotherhood
Yeah.
for the God Emperor. Like all that entire mindset is just a lot cooler to me.
Yeah.
But regular Warhammer is still really cool because like, but then it's like, oh, I like certain factions because of like their whatever
Yeah.
ideas and stuff like that. Versus I just like all of 40k because it's just basically just heretics versus the Imperium. Purge everything.
Purge everything with fire.
Brother, get the flamer. The heavy flamer.
Yeah.
Whereas regular Warhammer,
It's
you got
basically
it's
the
like
entire
full Lord of the
galaxy's on
Rings, so
fire.
it's like I like these factions because they're cool and they're like it's like the same thing with Lord of the Rings where it's like, oh, I love Gondor, Rohan, blah blah
Right,
blah, blah.
right.
But I still like the evil ones. It's just
Yeah.
some stick out more than others, but
Okay.
yeah, they're both great.
What about you, Connor? What are your spoiler-free thoughts on Pariah Nexus?
I love it. I mean, I love Warhammer in general. I love both 40k and regular Warhammer. I think I love both equally. And I think the show is really good. Like, kind of dip your toe in if you're not really sure if you like Warhammer. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to just watch something short and kind of feel it out, because it doesn't like overload you with lore or like information.
Yeah.
It's
Which
very
is a common problem for
Right.
Warhammer.
That was the biggest question I had going into, like, once you had brought it up and we had decided we wanted to do it, one of my biggest questions going into it was, okay, what do I need to know going into this particular show?
right.
And you had said nothing. I think there's a little bit of stuff I needed to know,
Honestly, there's some very basic
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
I think you'd need to know going into Warhammer, but
you
other
could-
than that, you don't really need
But
a
yeah.
whole
Yeah,
lot.
but you can watch it just completely blind.
but I did. And
Yeah.
by the end of it, I kind of got the gist of what you were saying with, like, the overall mentality of the
Yeah.
whole brotherhood
the
for the
characters
God
bring
Emperor
the
and stuff.
lore kind
Yeah.
of with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it, and it's just a really good like short film. You know,
Yeah.
not long at all. And
So yeah, just on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this is a 3-episode season. All episodes are under 20 minutes, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's 22 minutes, but with credits, so
Yeah,
it's probably like 18, 19.
they're easy watches.
They're also it's
say.
also like broken up into like mini chapters kind of.
It's actually like a bunch of like
It's like a book. Yeah,
short stories. Like it's like
it's a bunch of short stories in a singular.
which is interesting.
story.
Because I kind of I don't know. We'll talk about that in the spoiler section because I'd like to explore that type of storytelling a little bit. But okay, we got our spoiler free thoughts out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get some scores going. Keep in mind my score is going to be purely just off of my like entertainment of the like while watching it, like. Just pure because I don't know anything about the lore. I don't know if it was like executed well or if the people acted the way they're supposed to. I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff. So my score is purely just based on did I enjoy it or not? And the answer to that is yes. I give it an 8. I enjoyed it. It was fun. There's some badass fighting scenes in there, and It got my blood pumping, and I wanted to purge for the Emperor. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. What about you guys?
I would give this a 9.
Oh,
I'm gonna give it a 9 as well.
All right. So really high scores. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I know this is kind of like out there. If you are a loyal follower of our channel, which thank you guys. For those of you that keep coming back, you guys are awesome. But if you're kind of a loyal follower, this might be a little bit out there. We've definitely talked about Warhammer before in the show, but just know that like I think Warhammer is going to start becoming more of a big thing. If you like
sci-fi, if you like Star Wars, Saving Private Ryan, like if you want Star Wars and Saving Private Ryan to be like meshed into one thing, that's kind of. I think you'd be interested in Warhammer. It's like if you want a sci-fi kind of opera, but you want it to be more gritty and kind of dark. Then
my better alternative to those options would be if you are a like true fan of Starship Troopers. That I don't mean like the like generic movie fan base, even though it's great. I mean like actual Starship Troopers. This is very similar to it.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, like I said, I think it's gonna start to become more and more of a thing in pop culture because isn't Henry Cavill supposed to be doing a live action project?
Yeah,
Amazon.
he's currently working on it.
So that's gonna probably be a big deal. And I look forward to learning as much as I can about Warhammer prior to that because I enjoyed this, and I think you guys will too. If you're like me, if you're like somebody like me, I think you guys would enjoy it.
And Henry Cavill, you're welcome to come on the show. We'd love to have you.
We'd love to have you talk.
We can talk about Warhammer.
Yeah,
all you want, dude.
Yeah, you can teach me.
Yeah, just sit in Ocean's Lab.
Don't worry, he's gonna teach the world.
If you guys are interested in watching this show, you can find it on Warhammer TV. Is it the only place you can find Warhammer stuff?
I mean, I'm sure you could like.
There's stuff on YouTube, but if you want to watch like actual Warhammer shows made by Games Workshop, then yes, you go to Warhammer
That's
TV.
the official.
Yeah,
and you sign up for their Warhammer Plus subscription, kind of like Netflix.
It's like any other streaming service, but
it's dedicated entirely to Warhammer,
which I think is pretty awesome.
Also includes, I just want to say, it also includes like if you actually want to get into like the tabletop or some of the stuff like that. There's informational things on the app as well with tutorials and all that kind of stuff to do that.
Yeah.
Also with painting and all that kind of crap.
Yeah, and lore videos. They have like straight up just lore
it's
videos about the universe.
All of Warhammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do videos about everything.
I think that's pretty cool. I think that it's really cool that a IP or a franchise has been around for long enough and has such depth to it that you can devote an entire streaming service to it, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I think that's really cool. If you guys want, check it out on Warhammer TV. Otherwise, stick around for the rest of this video. We're going to dive into spoilers, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to serve as your official
spoiler alert.
All right. So 3 episodes. They're pretty easy watches. So Taylor, I guess either one of you guys, kind of walk me through some of the very basic things that people need to know if they were to, like, if you're like me that has no prior knowledge of the Warhammer universe and you want to watch the show. What are some of the very basic things you think somebody should know before they watch something like this?
I mean, for this specifically, real basic. There's obviously, we'll just say factions that are within this universe, which includes many different worlds, planets, and like people and races and stuff. Yeah. Some of them fall under the Imperium, which is like your generic like human-led faction, but that includes other races as well, as you see in this show. And then there's basically everybody else that's not the Imperium, which can be like in the show, it's like the Necrons, and there's all the evil guys, and that's as basic as I would get with this.
Yeah, so the Necrons are technically the bad guys of the show, but in Warhammer there's no like good guys. Like even the Imperium of Man, which is like basically all the humans are under one giant, galaxy-spanning imperium, and they all serve the God Emperor of mankind,
Okay.
who is dead,
Oh.
kind of. He doesn't.
But he's always with us.
Yeah, but he sits eternally on his golden throne, protecting Earth
Okay.
from
Worry not, brothers.
the forces of chaos. But everybody serves and does their duty to the Emperor, and basically this planet, I think it's called like Paradisia or something, was called like a ancient crap. What is it called? I don't know. It's not a throne world, but it's like the Necrons were basically buried underneath the planet for a long, long time, and then they wake up and take over the planet. So by the time the show happens, the war between the Imperium and the Necrons, which are basically like Terminators.
Yep.
But they're sentient beings. They're not. It's not like they're all
They're
just.
not AI.
It's not a hive mind. They're all like sentient beings.
But they're electronic.
Yeah, but they're made of metal.
Space magic-y.
Yeah, and they're
There's
just
some,
like
there's
they're,
some necromancy.
They made a deal a long time. I'm not gonna go to the line.
Yeah, that's too deep. That's too deep.
There's a long history of the Necrons, but basically they're green and metal robots that have basically won the war for this planet. The war is basically over. All the humans lost, and this kind of just follows the last remaining, I guess, survivors of the war.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them,
follows,
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it basically just follows two characters.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of the different. Are they called factions or different? I don't know, units.
Chapters.
Chapters of soldiers.
Yeah.
So we have the main character. I would assume is the female. I don't remember her name, but she's a
Danica.
Danica.
She's a sister of battle.
Sister of
That's
battle.
not her chapter though. That's
No.
just what she is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like-
she's under the.
So would that be like Marine versus Army or Air Force versus Navy or?
It's not in Warhammer. They don't really separate like branches.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
You're either
could
in the
still be-
Custodes, or you're either in the Astra Militarum, which is like all of the just regular humans, all of them. Doesn't matter if you're in the, like flying on the ground.
those are like you would call them like the soldiers, but like
yeah. And then
it
you have
doesn't
the
equate to the same way that it would to us in real life.
right.
Okay.
Right. And
It's
then
just
you have the
simply how they
Astartes,
separate.
which is all of the Astartes are Space Marines.
And they're all like
superhuman,
biomechanically engineered, or
Right.
like
Yeah.
And they're immortal.
enhanced.
Kind of like Spartans.
Yeah, if
Oh,
they don't
they're-
die in battle,
they're
they will
immortal.
live for like thousands of years.
Oh shit. Okay, so a sister of battle is one of those Astartes.
Kind of, but not really.
They're kind of
They're not modified like a Space Marine is. Like they don't have extra organs or anything, and they're blessed by the Emperor, so they are immortal.
Okay.
And they do have
So
like
somewhere
a
in
type
between.
of power armor, but it's not like the Marines' power armor.
yeah. They're kind of a little
They're like an in between.
special in between.
Yeah. But they are
So-
like
but to like a normal person, they're basically a space marine.
Right.
yeah.
But to a space marine, they will look at them basically the same, but
Not
there's a little bit
But
of
they're
a
a little
difference.
lower. They're like, oh, you're kind of.
Okay.
They
So,
kind of pat you on the head.
The other main character that we kind of saw, which is Sakan, he is one of the salamanders. And
Yes.
he's a space marine.
Yeah, he's a space marine.
And he's also referenced as an angel of death.
Yeah, so his
All Space
chapter,
Marines.
all space marines are
Angels of Death.
they're called angels of death.
Well, they're
His
called
chapter
that, yeah.
specifically though are the dark angels,
Okay.
which is what is
No. So this chapter specifically is the Salamanders. That's the chapter name is the Salamanders. The Dark Angels are green, and the Salamanders are green. They're both green.
They're
They're
two
just completely
names?
different chapters.
Oh.
So the Salamanders they all look like how he looks like because of their Primarch.
Oh my god, this is so confusing.
So basically,
I didn't mean to get this far into it.
Yeah.
But so we have he's a space marine. She's a sister of battle, and then we have the Necrons who are the bad guys, and then we have basic humans, and then we also have the humans that like kind of have armor and stuff? Are those just like
Those are the Astra Militari guys.
oh, okay, so those are just like the basic
soldiers.
basic bitches.
Yeah.
Got it.
Those are the infantry
Okay,
fodder.
the expendable.
Yeah.
Just go die.
Yeah, if you're in the Astra
Pretty
Militari,
much.
you're probably not going to be alive very long.
Okay, all right. That's as far as I wanted to get into it. If you guys want a more in-depth analysis of the lore behind all of these different things, maybe Taylor and Connor can do an episode on that because I don't know anything. I'm just so weird. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I did say it's like really convoluted.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's very deep.
which makes
Very
sense.
deep.
I mean, it's been around a long time. The same could be said for like Star Wars. Like I could dive deep into like the old Republic and stuff, but
It's been around since the first Star Wars movie came out.
yeah. Okay.
It's fucking crazy.
All right, so let's actually talk about the episodes themselves. The overarching storyline, like you said, was this planet has already been ravaged by war. We're following the stories of these two or a couple soldiers that have survived. One is legitimately crazy, like she's seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, how early on did you guys realize that I don't know what she's called, but the other soldier was not real.
Like her friend.
Yeah. The other female.
I'm probably only like midway through, but honestly, I don't really care that she's like losing her mind because she's.
I mean, it makes sense.
She's
like a zealot.
Yeah,
She's
I mean,
like-
which is not surprising because she's a sister of battle, so they're like, very, very
Religious.
I mean, they're all religious, but like her chapter specifically is known to be very religious.
Okay.
So it's not surprising to me that she's like seeing all these like crazy visions and stuff.
Yeah, she just kind of went nuts. So
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't know until
but
they
it-
revealed it.
But it makes honestly to me like the first time it shows you that she's like not real is like the first encounter that she has with the corrupted soldiers that she finds.
Yeah, because why didn't she
She's
help
just
fight him?
standing
Yeah,
there.
she
She's
just
like, "Well,
did
you're
that.
surrounded, sister." It's
Yeah.
like,
It's like, okay, are you gonna do anything? You're just gonna like,
Yeah, in my head, I was like, oh, she just doesn't have a weapon. So she's like,
that wouldn't make any sense why she wouldn't have a weapon.
yeah. I kind of had my doubt. I mean, Connor was watching with me, and I brought it up like right after that point. But right before that, when she was talking about her mother and that the whoever brought the dog tags of her mother and they weren't real or they weren't the right ones or whatever. They're just the way that they were like positioning the camera as she talked and stuff. It just made me feel like, okay, this person is probably just not there. Like she's just talking to herself right now.
yeah. Yeah, it seems like through the course of the war, she kind of just lost her.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. You're in a fucking crazy war zone. Yeah. So later on, or throughout this story, there's a Necron. I don't know what they're called, but he's like an assassin essentially.
Death mark.
Yeah.
Death mark.
Is tracking her down and trying to kill her. So I just wanted to talk about some of these like crazy powers that this Necron has. Like he has like teleportation, where he can just open up a portal with his eyeball. It's just like portal, and then like he can just regenerate himself.
Yeah, the Necrons are a really cool race. They're basically all immortal as long as like they have their like pyramid thing that there's usually one on every like throne world or whatever where they're like buried underground. When they awaken, their like pyramid regenerates them after they die. So even if they're killed, they just come back.
So even at the end of the show, when Sakan cuts the thing's head off, like he will.
Yeah.
Come
Well, I
back.
think he's dead because the guy did say that he was just like, I'm not gonna waste my
Well, that's
time on you.
that's the thing is like they technically can be immortal,
Yeah,
but they're not.
Yeah, it's whoever
Like-
it's whoever's like running everything, like the big guy.
Yeah.
He can like
Yes.
regenerate.
Okay.
He has like a certain amount of supply of his like energy or whatever that he can use, but he most of the time he's not going to even bother because
Waste
like,
it on
why do that when I
a
can just spawn
failure.
another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. All right. And then I want to talk about a little bit of the powers of the Space Marines. So they have extra organs, as you mentioned before.
Yeah.
2 hearts and 3 lungs.
Yeah. They're like the like
So they are basically
super
like
advancement of
Spartans,
human.
Yeah.
but even
Yeah.
crazier than Spartans.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
they're 2 times as big as Spartans, and also have a bagazillion organs.
Yeah.
Because they.
But in the Warhammer universe, they fucking die by like the thousands.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
really?
they die.
So like, as strong as they are, they still get absolutely shredded in like crazy numbers because
Yeah.
of
Oh,
the
damn.
amount of forces.
But it's
they're
not like
fighting.
there's a huge amount of them. It's very rare for anybody to ever see an actual Space Marine in the world of
Oh, really?
Warhammer for regular people.
like normal people.
Yeah,
they
because
try-
there's
'cause-
billions of planets
yeah,
underneath.
right.
They obviously most of the time you want to avoid
Yeah,
war
because
zones.
if you see them, you're like, oh, okay, we're fucked.
Yeah, let's get the fuck
they
out
sit
of
in the
here.
Space Marines when
you know
shit is fucked.
Yeah, you know it's super bad if
Yeah.
you see a Space Marine.
Well,
Otherwise, because like I said, they have the entire regular military, which,
Yeah, they
which
have
covers
trillions
all
of
it.
humans. Yeah.
Okay.
Like they all cover the same positions and stuff. It's just Marines do it better.
right.
Yeah.
Or the Space
I
Marines.
mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, Space Marines are just the ultimate weapon for.
But they have some. It seems like they have some kind of powers, right? Like in this particular show,
Well, some of them do.
he
Yeah,
was
some of them
able
do.
to rewind.
Certain chapters have certain abilities that they have. Some of them eat their enemies to
Oh.
gain knowledge from them, memories
Yeah.
and stuff
Okay,
from their actual enemies. So they'll eat the people that they kill.
nice.
And
It's
then
usually
That's
based
fun.
off of their origin. All
Yeah.
the chapters are
each chapter of
they're
Space
usually
Marine
built
has
from
a Primarch,
something.
which is they
Oh,
basically
jeez.
kind of base it off of old Bible, Jesus Testament, where there's 12.
Disciples.
Yeah, kind of, but there's more
There's
than
more.
that. But
yeah.
it's kind of like that, where there's 12 disciples, and then there's Jesus. But
'Cause they're-
Jesus is the God Emperor,
Yeah,
and then the
'cause
Primarchs are the 12.
Some of them are built off of places that the Imperium took, or I guess saved.
They were
and
they
then
were
a chapter was
liberated.
built out of it from
Yeah.
based off of the populace that was there, and so
Oh,
they all
okay.
have their own unique.
yeah.
ability.
So
abilities and
so
stuff.
what we saw of him turning back time and rewatching the battle,
I think
or
that's
whatever.
just
Is that
him.
is that just
I don't
him
think it's a
envisioning
power.
that,
I think
or
that's
is that,
just-
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
just a way for us as a viewer to understand.
See what he's seeing,
He's
analyzing the battlefield.
yeah, trying to analyze what happened
so he's
so that he knows what he's going through right now.
he's like Aragorn, where he can just kind of super tracker dude.
Yeah. Basically,
I mean, Legolas is even better because he's just the sky is 2 degrees colder. The enemy's that way.
the sky is 3 degrees colder.
The
They're
sky
taking
is
the
red.
opposite
It's
Isengard.
red.
Red Dawn, blood has been
Blood
spilled
has been
this night.
spilled over there. This many men.
Yeah, it's
It's
basically
like
that.
it's like the fucking those fucking stupid seers in sea.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
Oh, 63 men with swords
That's
and
way.
spears that way. Okay.
Yeah, and you may have been confused by what he was doing when we were first introduced to Zakarn, the Salamander Space Marine. He grabs this thing and
Yeah.
starts sticking it in one of his brothers.
Yeah, what was he?
He's not trying to revive him. He's trying to retrieve his brother's gene seed to create more Space Marines.
Oh, nice.
So that's what they do because
Interesting.
they have to replenish their numbers. So that's how they do it.
Oh, okay.
Their gene
So
seed is
he would
basically their blood.
retrieve it from that and then take another human or another person and
Yeah,
put
they
it in
augment
them.
them
And then
Yeah.
that person would just be like, go, 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 go.
yeah,
Well, just think like Witcher.
yeah, like a
Oh, okay.
like a Witcher,
All right.
but
Not
way
blood
more
origin,
painful.
Yeah.
like way more horrible than the Witcher,
but
though.
not blood origin Witcher,
No.
No.
real Witcher.
Yeah, but Warhammer's more mechanically.
Yeah,
fucked.
they stick you on a table and,
And
open you up, and
just-
you're like,
yeah, start chopping
you're
you
getting
up.
slung stick on you. It's
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Yeah.
and then you become a brother.
brother.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm slowly realizing that there's a lot more or infinite to learn about Warhammer, as well as the fact that it's
these
mostly pretty dark.
yeah.
Like
and you
these are
don't have to know-
crazy details that you don't really need to
Yeah.
know. It's just something you'll kind of pick up on as you start
Yeah.
diving into it.
Yeah, and you could literally, if you wanted to, you could just stick with one thing and learn all the lore about that, and then you just be like, I just know that thing. Like, you don't have to know like the whole unit. Like, you could just be like, oh, I love the Ultramarines, so I'm just gonna learn everything about the Ultramarines, and that, that's
the Ultramarines are
Which is
blue ones.
it's kind of what happens with a lot of people that get into like especially the tabletop. You kind of start separating into like you just look at like a brief summaries of each different faction and stuff or chapters, and then you're like, okay, I really like this, so I'm gonna start learning about them, and then you like build your entire army around them, and all that kind of stuff. That way you don't have to touch like everything else. You kind of just need to know like, okay, Space Marines, Chaos Marines, Necrons, gotcha, like, all the different thing, but you don't need to like go super deep into them.
Yeah, or you can if you want to.
Yeah, you can. I mean, eventually you probably will, but
I'm an all or nothing kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm just
all the lore.
It's like the same thing. If you took somebody who was like, "What's Lord of the Rings?"
Right,
and you're like, "Here's the Silmarillion."
Right.
Good luck, bro.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
Yeah, but yeah. So I know the salamanders. Zakarn, he takes off his helmet a lot, and I know he looks like an alien, but he's actually just a human. They just look like that because on their home world, the sun is like way closer to their planet, and it turned all of their skin that way, and their eyes red.
He looks like Drax.
Yeah, he looks like Drax.
Yeah.
So he's a human. He's not an alien.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So at the end of the show, the sister of battle dies. She gets shot in the back by the Necron, and then the salamander dude Zakan kills that dude.
Yeah.
And
Zakan is a fucking badass.
Oh yeah,
He's way
all
cooler than
Space
the
Marines
sister.
like that.
Yeah,
they all just like super.
I mean, they're all as like
they're all like that,
as aggressive as he is, but the personality is not. Like, everybody's obviously different.
Yeah,
so
he's
like,
a nicer Space Marine.
He's a way nicer
Space Marine.
nice
Most Space
Marine.
Marines would just be like, "You guys are fucked," and like just keep
especially
moving.
from his chapter. Like, he's an unusual character.
Yeah. Well, most of the salamander chapters themselves are like a lot. They're a lot more of like the good guys compared to the rest of the Space Marine chapters. Like, they're a lot nicer than like most of the other chapters. Most of them he took in like the just regular citizen survivors who needed help. Most of the chapters would have either just left them or just killed them and been like, there's no point in you like surviving.
Well, that's why she wanted to kill them, right? Oh no, she wanted to kill them because
kind of.
She wanted to kill them. She blamed them for the fall of the world.
That she just hated them.
The Space Marines would have just killed them because they would have been like, you would die anyway.
Yeah, so spare you a more painful death. Let me
just annihilate you with my fucking bolter.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're definitely, the Salamanders are a nicer chapter than most Space Marines.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your crash course on Warhammer 40k and Pariah Nexus. If you're like me, you have no idea what the hell you just listened to for the last 30 minutes. But if you guys want to learn more, you can either check out the Warhammer TV app, or you can put down in the comments below that you'd like to learn more, and we'll do another episode. And Connor and Taylor can just download all of their information to your brains.
Yeah, I love Warhammer, dude.
And you can just learn it all from them.
I do also want to say that animation in this show is really, really good.
That's pretty solid.
They did a really good job.
Probably the most easiest for most people that are not super into Warhammer to get into, because it's not like your normal like comic style. It's like your typical modern like CG hyper realistic kind of style.
Yeah, very, very,
which
very
looks
well
amazing. So it's a lot easier for a lot of people to watch.
Which is also why I get that it's shorter, because it's like that probably cost
way more.
Yeah, a lot of money to do that. It probably took a lot longer.
Yeah. Because this is like identical to something like Blizzard does all the time for like
their trailers and stuff.
Yeah, where they have really, really long, in-depth fucking cinematics for their games and stuff, and it looks just like it does for this show. It's like super nice and everything, but it probably costs a lot of money.
Yeah. But good job.
Yeah,
you guys nailed it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was really good. I think that it's a really good introduction, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed the chapter style, like storytelling device. Like, so for you, ladies and gentlemen, basically every like 2 minutes, it was a different chapter. So they had this hard transition where it said chapter or parts, whatever the next number is, and then it had a title for it, and there were time jumps between the chapters, and I like it because it allows for you to do these shorter format stories, but be able to cram more into it without it feeling super rushed and super underdeveloped.
Yeah.
Because when they do these chapter by chapter things, it allows you to kind of like fill the gaps on your own and just make assumptions based off of what you've seen the chapter before and the chapter after about what happened in between, without actually having to see it. And
you get to use your imagination a little bit.
I like that.
Cuts out a lot of the bullshit that a lot of other shows usually have. Like, you don't need to know, like, okay, something happened. All right, their next objective is here.
Yeah.
Now they're
like,
there.
oh, we're gonna go 3 hours west into the center of the city.
I don't want to watch you walk 3 hours.
Like, a good example is like the very end chapter where like you go from the Space Marine walking away from the dead assassin you just killed to the little girl walking outside of the city's.
I think
like,
that was a boy, but yeah.
Yeah, the bald kid walking outside the city limits or whatever.
Yeah.
And like and he or she is the only one left.
Right.
And you kind of make the assumption that okay, all the other ones died.
Obviously, you don't see them and the kids like talking about like basically how his family just died or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm the only one left
like,
in my
but he's
now.
like he's not infected, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like,
but they killed him anyway.
Yeah, which is why the Imperium is not like good guys. They're like
I mean, it's this real life, like that's the exact same thing. So like, you know, obviously take things as you want, but the Imperium are the good guys in the series. They do some very bad things, but you could say the exact same thing about everything else that exists in this world. So
yeah,
you're not going to go that deep.
Whatever faction you like are the good guys, basically.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us on this one. I know it was a little off the normal beaten path, but I enjoyed it, and I think that, like I said in the beginning, we're going to start seeing more and more Warhammer stuff come to the forefront of pop culture as Henry Cavill show gets introduced, and just as like nerdism is more widely accepted and widely celebrated. I think we'll see more and more of Warhammer in the forefront of pop culture. So
I mean, hopefully, but it is a very like, I don't know, kind of like,
if there's anybody that can do
edgy.
if there's anybody that can do it, Henry Cavill can do it.
Yeah. Well, I just mean like Warhammer itself is, or especially 40k is very
it's
very
the grim
edgy.
Darkness of the far future.
Well, just because it covers a lot of things that people shy away from in real life all the time.
Right.
So I don't know if it'll really pick up.
It's very
that
dark.
big,
It gets very dark.
But
We'll see. We'll see.
it'd be cool though.
Yeah. And if any like super Warhammer fans comment about any of our lore misaccuracies, that's totally fine. Just don't burn us
I mean,
at the
I don't
stake.
care, bro. Like, I don't know, like, how
not
much
gonna-
of
yeah,
Warhammer's in,
we
it's
don't
so
know
fucking
everything.
huge,
like, I'm
bro.
pretty sure the planet thing, I don't even know if that's correct, how I said it, but I just don't, like, burn us at the stake for that.
Warhammer's cool, right?
Yeah, we all love Warhammer.
It's the same thing about Star Wars. Like, as much as we like Star Wars, I'm sure there's a fuck ton we don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the same thing with Lord of the Rings. Like,
Yeah.
there's insane amount of fucking things involved with it. So,
Yeah,
same
I'm
thing
sure
with
I got
Warhammer.
some things wrong.
So,
I'm just going to acknowledge
just
that now.
know Warhammer's awesome.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, if you guys want to check out more, check out Warhammer TV. Otherwise, let us know down in the comments below if you'd like another episode covering more Warhammer stuff. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining us on this episode as well as all of the others. Really appreciate all the love and support, all the views and subscribers and everything. It just helps motivate us to keep this going. So thank you guys for that. We really appreciate it, each and every one of you. Ladies and gentlemen, please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Check out our social media as well as the shows here on Any Kind Media, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
My holy emperor.
Only in death does duty end.